Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 42 of the new Build Your Stash and Craft. We've got an easy one today, but one that's fun for with Halloween coming up. And I wanted to show you really quickly. I decorated the front of our ephemera holders that we made last week, and so I just thought that I would show you how I did that. I just used a piece of the file folder to make a little label for them and just decorated the front. I didn't decorate the inside. I did add the little pocket here by I glued this down completely on each end, and then I just glued down this fold and across and then back up this fold. So that fits our little inchies very nicely, and our little scrap monsters and butterflies and our feather, all those nice little tiny bits fit in this smaller folder. And then I don't know that I put anything. Nope, I don't have anything in the mid-size holder, but it's ready to go when I have some things. And then I decided to use, put my borders in the one that we made last week instead of the one that I had it in. And so I just have my borders in that one, and so that works out very nicely. And then what I did was I just went ahead and I put a paper clip on them just to kind of keep them all together so that they would all, just be in one spot when I put them on my shelf thing here. So then the other thing, when we made our borders the other week, and I was telling you about, you have your pad and, wash it off in your water, in your little wash basin tub, so that you're not rinsing all of that paint right down the sink. And so what I did first was, after we got done with the video and I was done making borders, because I made a few more borders after that, but I just went ahead and I pressed some paper onto our pad, because it's got those little squares on it. It makes a very cool texture there. And so when it was almost gone, then I went ahead and just lifted up just what was left and got just a nice light color there. So now I have some colored papers to work with. And I did put this in the tub and rinsed it out. I told you I thought it may come out brown. It did. And so, but the red kind of settled to the bottom. And so I wound up getting, here I got these like red kind of colorings. And I just put it in the water, let it set for a few minutes, and then took it out and set it on a pan that I had. So here's some more with the red coloring. And but it, when I rinsed it all together, it did turn the water brown. So pretty much the papers are very almost tea-dyed or very vintage looking. And again, this one has some of the red on it. And then this one, the pan I had little holes in it. And so that kind of put a texture on the very first one that I put down. And then this one has a little bit of color on it, because last week when we did our folders, and I had used the pad again with a few little colors on it, I went ahead and pressed that on here just to get some of that paint onto this piece of paper, and I thought that looked kind of cute with the tea-dyed background. So that was just something, I had told you don't just wash it in your sink, because the acrylic paint at some point could clog your sink, but also you can get more out of it when you're done doing what you want to do with it by just pressing it on some paper, or when you rinse it using that water. So today we are going to make candy corn. Little candy corn beads. I thought that they turned out really cute. And so I'm going to show you how to make them. I've got regular beads here that are like, just the regular bicone. And then I just have cone beads, like a half a bicone here, because I thought that looked a little bit more like the candy corn. But I thought these would be cute on a Halloween journal, on a just whatever you're doing. Even a little Halloween doll or something, you could make it a necklace, or a necklace for yourself, or earrings, if you like to dress up for Halloween. So I thought they're cute, and I'm going to show you how to do it, and it is very, very simple. You need red, orange, and brown of your kids markers that we have. Let me set these aside. And we're doing this because I didn't tell you what we would need for next week, last week. So I'm going to tell you right now what we need for next week, and I'll try and remember to tell you again at the end. But I'm going to tell you now, just so we don't forget. But we're just going to need some magazines for next week. And so these are just the magazines that I have in my stash. I can get magazines at my library for free. They give away old magazines. You're allowed to get 4 each time that you go in. So whenever I stop in, I do pick up a few magazines. And they don't have to be anything special. I have an Oprah magazine and a Create and Decorate magazine and a Santa Claus magazine, Better Homes and Gardens. So, I just grabbed 3 magazines out of my list. Or out of my stack. I didn't even look at what they were because it really doesn't matter what type of magazine it is. It could be a magazine, a catalog, something like that. Even a kid's book would work for next week. So, for this week, the first thing we'll do is we will cut some triangles really quick. And the way to do that is, now, to do the bicomb beads, for me, it's almost easier just to cut a strip and then cut it in half, because you can use a regular triangle like this, and which both of them, this point is centered in the middle down here. But if you have a straight edge on one and an angle on the other, the candy corn ones, this one works better. But you can do it either way. You can do it with a straight edge or with just a plain triangle. But I'll show you how to excuse me, get a straight edge on your beads. Now, the very first one, if you're cutting triangles, you are going to go ahead and, let's say we want a 1/2 inch paper. We're going to come out to a 1/2 inch here. That's not right. We're going to go to a 1/2 inch here, and then just come right out to the line where our cutter cuts. So that way, our cutter's going to start at a 1/2 inch, and it's going to come down on an angle and cut a strip. But this is going to have a straight edge and then an angled edge on it. So that works okay. Let's do a 1 inch bead. So we're going to go at 1 inch. And then we're going to come right to our groove where our knife is going to cut in. Is that really going to cut me 1 inch? It just seems, oh yeah, because I'm thinking it cuts here, but it doesn't. It cuts along the edge. So we're just going to cut that. And now we have a triangle. And sometimes it's even hard to tell whether, if I cut a bunch at one time and I've got a few straight edges and a few that are triangles that are center to center point, this has a flat edge here now. You can see it if you lay it on your board. It has a flat edge here, and then it goes on an angle here. Whereas, let's just cut one with an angle. So at this point in time, we're going to put this at 1 inch. And put that end right at the groove of our cutter. And when you're wanting to make triangles, you have to get rid of that first piece first. And then if you just go back and forth and go point and bottom, just like that. Now this one, if you put this flat on this bottom line, you will be able to see that that is, put it flat on the bottom line, that it's angled. And even at that, it's not perfectly straight just because of the way that it got cut. If you put this one flat here, you can see that it goes, whoops, it does go straight up here and then goes on an angle. So we had our paper, we just did our point up there. So now we're going to do our 1 inch up there. So go over to 1 inch, come down to the groove, and these now, I said I was going to show you how to do the flat edges, but since we're doing this, I'm going to finish for a little bit. So that's another triangle. We just had our point up there, so we're going to bring that one over to 1 inch and put this one at the groove. You just go back and forth and back and forth. And you will have a bunch of triangles. Now this one, I'm going to go to the straight side so I can show you how to do the straight edged triangle, which they have a name. I don't know what they are. So I'm going to line this up at 1, a nice straight edge, line it up at 1, and cut a 1-inch strip. Once you do that, then you're just going to take that strip and you're going to line one edge of it up at, let's do it this way, because that's a 1-inch strip. 1 inch, line up at 1 inch. The other one, line up at, what am I doing? Oh, see. We're going to go from this point to this point. We want to cut it in half on an angle. So line that up with our cutting groove. Line this end up with our cutting groove. And when you cut that, you will have 2 triangles which have a straight edge and an angled edge. So these are straight edges and angled edges. That's a regular triangle. This is the other straight edge. These are just regular triangles. And you can do them any size that you want to. And so what we're going to do, I think those are all regular triangles, so we'll go like that. This one has the straight edge. Okay, so to make your candy corn, to make the bi-cone candies like this, whatever color is going to be at the bottom, that's the color you are going to put at the top of your candy corn, at the top of your bead. It's basically backwards. So all we're going to do is run your marker along the edge of the paper so that the edge is not white. So because when you roll it, you may see that white edge. And then we're just going to color the first bottom part brown. Now, because we are going to roll this up and only the edges of the paper are going to show as it goes, you don't have to color. You have to color all the way across at the beginning, and the farther you go, the more you can just color the edge. Because if you have like a quarter or a half an inch of marker there, the laps of your bead are not wider than that. So I think that is probably good enough for our brown. So we want it to be brown, then orange, and then yellow. So we'll do the orange next. And again, run your marker down the kind of the outside edge of that paper to make sure that you don't have a white edge. And then just color in enough that when you roll it, you don't see the white paper. I kind of figure about a quarter of an inch does it, because I know that there's never going to be that big of a gap between my rolls. All right. And then we're going to do the yellow. I'm going to run my marker down the edge. And then do the yellow. Now, when you do a bead, you can roll a bead just like this. If you do, it's going to have a white core. When you look in the hole, you're going to see white. I don't care for that. I like that core to be colored. So I'm going to just color across the bottom here just a little bit. You don't have to, but I do. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to flip it over to the side that you're going to roll up, and you are going to put whatever colors on the other side. You are just going to put about an inch of that color right here. So when you roll it around your skewer, it's going to be yellow. And now we're just going to take our skewer and we are going to just roll this up. See, now that yellow is inside here. And I'm just going to kind of keep it straight at one side or the other. And I think that this is my straight edge. So what I'm going to do is I just kind of want to keep that lined up here at the bottom. If it gets off a little bit, it doesn't matter. We can adjust it later. And So I said we're going to buy a magazine, or we're going to need to have a magazine for next week. We're also going to buy a glue stick because glue sticks come in handy. And I'm going to use the glue stick right now. Or I'm going to use a glue stick right now. And if you don't have a glue stick, you can press it on your glue pad that we made. And what I really should have done before I did that, because I have a little bit of yellow here at the bottom, and we're just going to take that off. And I'm going to press that brown right down to the bottom so that we have a nice flat bottom. Normally I do that before I glue it. Make sure that that's nice and straight. But there we go. There's our candy corn. And then what you can do to finish them off is take the clear nail polish that we got earlier in the series and just put a coat of nail polish on it. And a lot of times I will do a coat and let it dry and then do another coat. I think that the ones I just showed you all have 2 coats on them. And there we go. And then to let that dry, don't let it dry on a wooden skewer. It could get glued to the skewer and you won't get it off. Excuse me. So I'm just going to take a paper clip that I just opened it up and bent a piece out a little bit. Just going to put it on there and hang it to dry on the bead rack that we made. We've got places here to stack our beads and we have places here to dry our beads. And that is in one, if I remember, I will try and link that down below. Otherwise you can just look up paper beads in this series and you will find that how to make that box, which is super simple. So those were the flat sides. So in a triangle, you're just going to do the same way. Now this one, let's say I want to do with the, like regular candy corn is orange, yellow, white. So with the regular beads that you are going to roll up like this, you do it the same coloring as a candy corn. So candy corn, I believe, is orange at the bottom. Candy corn was never one of my favorite candies until they came out with the chocolate ones. And the good chocolate ones, the brown part really did taste like chocolate. I kind of liked those. But I never liked the orange, yellow, and white ones because to me they just tasted sweet and sugary, and I like chocolate. Chocolate's not sugary because it's got the cocoa in it. And so, you know, I do like cocoa as far as candy goes, but I don't like jelly beans or... And the bottom that we want to color is the other side. That's where we're going to put our skewer to roll our skewer. So that's the one that we want to color so that the inside of our bead is not white. I just don't like seeing that. To me, it's very, very noticeable, that white core, when you do something with your beads. So there we go. And it's really hard to try and color it afterwards. So we've got orange. And because this one is going to be regular candy corn, I don't even have to do anything with the white. I'm going to go along the edge to try and make sure I don't have a white edge. And get some yellow on there. And then we're going to roll this one just like a regular bead. If we wanted the chocolate candy corn, then it would be brown, then orange, then yellow. So regular bicone beads, which is what this is, which means it has a cone on each end, like a bicycle. It's got 2. Whatever color you put at the bottom is going to be on the inside of your bead. And then what you put in the middle, obviously, is in the middle. And whatever you put, whatever's at the tip is going to be on the top. So, but the, I don't even know what they call it, just a cone bead, I guess. The regular cone beads, they're just the opposite. So you just have to remember that part of it. So, and in this case, because this is a bicone bead, it's going to have a cone at each end. When you roll it, you're going to just try and keep it centered. You can kind of move it around a little bit, but it's easier if you just, the longer you can keep it centered. And as you're rolling it, if it seems to be off just a little bit, if it's getting too close to that way, just put a little bit more pressure on that side. Not a whole ton. You don't want this to go like that, you know, but just put a little more pressure on that side. Kind of pull it the opposite way, and that will help move it over just a little bit as you roll. And if you start getting off the other way, just kind of put pressure on the other side and just, you know, just keep rolling and try and keep it in the middle. And they don't have to be perfect. Don't even try and make them perfect, because there's no point in it. You know, that takes the enjoyment out of it, and they look good. Nobody's going to measure. Nobody's going to, you know, say how terrible it is because it's off just a little bit. So there we go. Put a little bit of glue on there. Finish rolling that around, and now there is our bicone candy corn bead. And I just think that they're really awesome. Let's make one more. So we've got, I'm going to do a straight one that's regular color candy corn. So that's orange, yellow, and so whatever is at the tip is going to be my outside color at the bottom of the cone. So I want that to be orange. Don't forget to go along those edges. Especially the thicker paper that you use, the more that you see the edge of that paper. If you use a piece of cardstock or something, which I don't recommend cardstock for paper beads because it is hard to roll. And there's really no need for it. So, but if you do have something that's heavier like cardstock, definitely make sure you get those edges. So then we're going to go orange and then yellow, and then we're going to leave the bottom white. We don't even have to color the back side because it's going to have a white core, because that part is white. And I'm starting to run out of ink here, or they're drying up a bit, one or the other. And so in order to do that, you can pull this cap off and just spritz a little bit of water in there. And if it's just a little dried out, it will come back to life. If it's used up, well, then obviously it's not going to come back to life. You're not going to get any more color out of it if you've used all the color. But it never hurts to try. When you're getting ready to throw it away, it never hurts to try and put just a spritz of, you don't want a bunch of water in there though. But put a spritz of water in there. There's like a core in there. Can't take it off because I don't have a pliers. But if I have pliers, I just grab that and kind of twist it and it pops off. Okay, so there we go. And now we are going to roll it. And we will double check it to make sure which one is the flat side this time. You don't have to do that, but let's line it up straight at the bottom. And that tells us that this is our flat, this is our straight side. So that's the side that we're going to want to line up as we go. So that's this side here, or the inside of the skewer, because I need to turn this over. And then you're just going to wrap your paper around your skewer. Just hold on to it. And then the inside of the skewer is the straight side. So I'm just going to kind of, whoops. You can kind of push that down as you go. So as you can see here, it's starting to move up. And so I'm just going to kind of put my thumb there and just kind of bring that down. And now just watch it as I go to kind of keep it down there instead of letting it completely go up. And you also want to make sure that it doesn't continue to go that way, because if you do that, it's going to be really thin. You want this all to be on top of each other right here, all nice and level, because if you let these top pieces get out this way, there's nothing underneath them to hold them. And when I was talking about how wide you needed to make your coloring line, because here is this line. Well, you can kind of see it with the white, maybe better, maybe not. It's hard to see the lines, but you know, there's only just a little bit when you wrap it around that shows. So you don't need to color the whole thing. It saves you time, and it saves you ink from your on your marker too. So there we go. Make sure it's lined up this time before I glue it, because it's easier to line it up before it's glued than afterwards. And that point will move up just a little bit. That's okay. Or it usually does with me. There we go. And so there is a regular one. So I just think that these are really cool. See if this one's dry yet, because they dry pretty quickly. Yeah. I think these are cool, and you can make them any size that you want to. You can make them a lot bigger. This is a 1-inch piece of paper, so our bead should be approximately 1 inch. Let's see. So if the bottom of your paper is 1 inch, that's about how big your bead's going to be. These were 1/2 inch pieces, and so if we hold those up there, that's a 1/2 inch. So however wide you make the base of your paper, that's how wide your bead is going to be. So again, next week we need stick glue. So we're going to pay $1.25 at the Dollar Tree. And I got a 2-pack. I thought I had it here to show you. Let me see. I hadn't unpacked my bag yet. Okay, so I picked up this Jot glue stick. It says that it's acid-free. It doesn't say permanent, but it also doesn't say kids glue, and it doesn't say washable, you know, like in big letters right on it. So to me, this would be, they had a washable Elmer's, I believe. The washable ones, you know for sure, are not permanent stick glue. That doesn't mean they're not going to stick really well. But like this Elmer's, this is an all-purpose. So it seems to stick a little better than the kids' glue also. But that way, if you're making tags or something like that, the ones that don't say washable, I believe, it's maybe just me, but they are the ones that stick better. The washable ones seem to peel up after a while of being on your project. So, but we're going to pick up this for next week, and we're going to need some magazines and a skewer and some of our paper. That's it. So thank you very much for stopping by. I hope that you enjoyed this project. I think that this is just a really fun thing to do. And I saw some beads that someone had made, and they were kind of like a maroon and then an orange and a white or something like that. And when I looked at it, the first thing that I thought was it looked like a candy corn. And so I thought, well, that would be really fun to do for Christmas or for Halloween. And since I had not given you a list for next week, and I wasn't sure exactly what I was doing for next week, this week now, this is what I came up with. And I just think they're fun, and it's not Halloween yet, so it gives you some time to play with them, and they're just a fun thing to do. And you can sit down in the evenings and just cut a bunch of these and color them and everything. You don't even have to roll them. You can cut them all at once. You could color them all at once and then, you know, roll them at a later date. Just have them ready. But I just think that that's a really fun thing to play with, and lots of ideas for things you could do with it. So thank you again for stopping by. If you press the bell button, that will let you know when I put up a video. I'm a little off right now as far as videos, when they're coming out and everything. I think that this series is totally back on track, but the Journaling on a Budget series is not. And so yeah, if you click the bell, you don't have to watch the videos, but it'll at least let you know when I put a video up in case I miss my time frame, you know, what you're used to. So thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.